What is going on, guys? It is Panjno here, and today I'm going to bring you guys the ultimate FPS increase guide for Battlefield 5. This video will be aiming to give you guys the best FPS possible with inside of the game, alongside keeping the game at a great visual fidelity, and making it as smooth and as snappy and enjoyable as possible. There are multiple settings and configs to choose with inside of this video, alongside leaving full customization of your game options as well, to really make sure that you can fine-tune the experience for your personal preference. So before we jump into the video, guys, if you guys can leave a like on this video if you do appreciate the results, and speaking of results, if you can leave any results, questions, queries, or suggestions for other videos or games you wish to see me cover on this channel in that comment section down below, that'd be deeply appreciated, as it is always fantastic to hear from you guys. And last but not least, guys, if you guys do enjoy content like this, please do consider subscribing to the channel and pressing the bell notification to be notified instantly whenever I upload updated guides, brand new guides, and other community suggested videos. With all that being said and done, let's get straight into the video to keep this as fast and as informative as possible. So for the first step of the guide, what you guys will need to do is navigate into the description down below, and there you will find a download link for the FPS increase pack. This pack just compiles all of the configs, downloads, and everything else in which you will need to follow along with this video. You can follow along with this video without downloading the pack, but some of the steps you will not be able to follow along with. So for any of you guys out there who are a little bit skeptical and don't wish to do this, you can follow along with the video as much as you can. Once you guys have put the file onto your desktop, you should be seeing a file called BFV FPS Pack by Panjno. To open up and extract this file, you'll need a program called 7-zip or WinRAR if you don't already have one of them installed to your system, which most people typically tend to do. I'd recommend taking yourself over to Google at this point and either Google the installations for 7-zip or WinRAR, but if you don't have one of those programs, head into the description down below or just Google one of the programs, install it to your PC, and you'll be good to go. At this point, you'll be able to go over to the FPS increase pack, right click, and hit the extract here option. Once you guys have extracted the file, you'll be given a folder on your desktop with an identical name. Inside of the folder, you'll be given a configs folder and optimizations folder. Inside of the optimizations folder, this is just going to be some optimizations in which we're going to be going through throughout this video. And alongside the configs folder, this will be a folder containing all of the optimized game config files in which you can set tailored to your system specs later on in the video. But for now, what we're going to be doing is just simply exiting out, seeing that we're good and ready to go and continue on with the optimizations. So for the first optimization, what we're going to be doing is backing up our current game files and installing our optimized game config files for the best performance across the board possible. To do this is actually very simple and easy to do. What we're going to be doing is simply navigating over to our documents. So to do this, we're going to be going down to the File Explorer within inside of Windows. Once the File Explorer opens up, we're then going to be navigating over to the left-hand side to our documents. With inside of here, you'll then be going inside of the Battlefield 5 folder, double-clicking, and then going into the settings folder. So once we're inside of our Battlefield 5 settings folder with inside of our documents, what we now have to go ahead and do is actually navigate into the FPS increase pack provided by double-clicking. And I recommend dragging this over to the left-hand side. This time we're going to be going inside of the configs folder, and with inside of this folder, what we're going to be doing is actually making a decision as to which config we're going to install to our game. So for my personal recommendation, what I'd recommend doing is installing the config which closely matches your system specs. So if you consider yourself to have a medium-end PC, go with the medium-end config. If you have a high-end PC, go with the high-end config. If you have an ultra-low-end, super old potato PC, go with the ultra-low-end config. So assuming that I'm recording this video on my high-end gaming PC, I'm going to be installing the high-end config. I'm going to double click on the high-end folder, and with inside of there you'll be greeted with a user.cfg file and also a profile save _ profile file. To install this is actually very simple and easy to do. What we're going to be doing is dragging over the prof save file found with inside of the FPS pack and dragging it into your game document files. You'll then be notified that you'll have to replace the file in this destination. Just simply hit replace the file, wait for the file to be replaced, and you've now successfully installed one of two of the configs we're going to install. We're now going to be left with the user.cfg file. Now to place this file, we actually need to go into the directory of our game installation. Might sound a little bit complicated, but it's actually very easy to do. What we're going to be doing is navigating over to our documents and closing out of this folder, and we can then just drag our FPS increase pack folder over to the right hand side, as we're going to be coming back to this later on. At this point, what you need to go ahead and do is navigate down into Origin, where Battlefield 5 should be installed. What we're then going to do inside of here is figure out where our games are installed to. So to find this out, it's very simple and easy to do. All you need to do is navigate up to the top, go to Origin. We'll then navigate down to Application Settings. With inside of here, we'll then go over to Installs and Saves. And we're then going to scroll down to where it says Game Library Location. And as you can see here, my games are going to be installed to C, Program Files, x86, Origin Games. This is typically going to be where your Battlefield 5 is installed to, unless you set it to a custom location when you installed the game. If you've done that and you happen to actually have a shortcut to the game on your desktop like I do, you can also right click on the shortcut, navigate down to Properties, then you can go to the Shortcut tab found here, and select Open File Location. So whether or not you have a shortcut on your desktop or you'll have to manually go to the folder itself, once you guys have located your Battlefield 5 installation directory, go inside of the folder and you'll be greeted with files that look very similar to this. You'll find Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 5 Trial, and what we're now going to be doing is navigating over to the right hand side to our FPS increase pack in which we opened earlier on, containing the user CFG left inside of here, and again, dragging the user CFG into the root of our game installation directory, just like so. This will launch all of these custom options when you go ahead and boot the game. This is completely fine, safe to do. You will not get banned for doing this. It's completely safe to use, and I'd highly recommend using this. And assuming that we're still inside of our game directory folder, it's a good idea to actually go ahead and optimize the game applications themselves whilst you're in here. To do this is actually very easy and quick to do. What we need to go ahead and do is navigate over to BFV application found here, right click on the application and navigate down to properties. Inside of here, we're then going to navigate over to the compatibility tab, and we're then going to select the option for disable full screen optimizations. We're also then going to click on the option for change high DPI settings and select the option for override high DPI scaling behavior performed by, press OK, press apply, and press OK once both of those options have been checked, and you're good to go, and you've now successfully optimized the game application itself as well. At this point, what you can go ahead and do is actually exit out of the game directory file as those steps are completed. Now, continuing on with the game optimizations, what we can actually go ahead and do is navigate into the FPS Increase Pack once again. This time navigate inside of the optimizations folder, and we're going to start off by going into BFV or Battlefield 5 Process Manager found here. Once you guys have opened up the folder, you'll find 3 options within inside of here, which will actually change the priority mode set within inside of Windows for Battlefield 5 itself. So simply what this means is if you click on the BFV normal priority key, this will set Battlefield 5 to launch in normal priority within inside of Windows. If you select high priority, Windows will always set Battlefield 5 to a high priority, meaning that more resources are allocated towards the game, helping you guys get better FPS. But for the best results possible, I'd recommend everyone watching this video, regardless of your system specs, go ahead and actually double click on the BFV high priority key, just like so by double clicking. You'll then be notified that changes will be made. Just simply select yes, and then press OK once it notifies you that they have successfully been changed. At this point, every time you boot into Battlefield 5, you can check inside of Task Manager, the game will be running in high priority mode, and you should notice around about a 10% increase in FPS from doing this, and a lot less stuttering if you do experience it. So proceeding on with the optimizations, what we're now going to be doing is booting into Battlefield just to make sure that we can set up our in-game options. Once you guys have booted into the game, all you need to do is simply navigate into the bottom left hand side and select the More options. With inside of there, we'll then click on the options icon found here, and we're then going to start off by going over to video. Inside of the video tab, to start off, what we're going to be doing is heading over to our full screen mode and setting this to full screen. I'm personally going to be sticking with borderless because I'm recording a video and I don't want any issues to arise, but the moment I'm done recording, this will be going straight back on full screen. And we can then proceed to go down to full screen resolution. This is going to be one of the most important options within inside of here to help you achieve the FPS in which you're wishing to achieve. On the right hand side of the screen now, you'll see recommended resolutions to match your system specs in which you are using. So go off the recommendation on the right hand side depending on whether or not you have a high end system, medium end system, low or ultra low end system. All I would say is once you guys have selected the resolution you're going to be playing at, make sure that you do select the right version with the refresh rate for your monitor. For instance, my monitor is 240 Hz, so 120 Hz isn't good enough, so I'm going to be switching this up to 240 Hz found here. Once you guys have found your resolution in which you're going to be playing at and have set it to the right refresh rate, we can then proceed to carry on. We're then going to proceed to go down to motion blur. This is going to be one of the most important options within inside of here, and we need to make sure that motion blur is set to 1%. This sounds a bit counterintuitive because this means that motion blur is going to be enabled, but the commands in which we've actually input into the game using the user CFG we installed earlier on have actually got custom code within inside of here to actually remove all of the blur within inside of the game, and this helps the game do that. If you set this to 0% or anything above 1%, these options will not be available. We can then proceed to go down to ADS DOF effects. I'd recommend turning this off for everyone. I'd recommend switching chromatic aberration off for everyone, film grain off, vignette off, and lens distortion off for everyone watching this video. At this point, what you'll go ahead and do is apply these settings, and we can then proceed to go over to the Advanced tab. Once you guys have clicked on the Advanced tab, we can start off by going over to DX12 enabled and switching this to the off position. High dynamic range is going to be switched off as well, and that now brings us on to resolution scale. This is also going to be one of the most important options within inside of the game to bettering your FPS. On the right hand side of the screen now, you'll see recommended values in which you should set according to your system specs. So simply match your system specs on the right hand side to the percentage of screen scale and set it up accordingly. Frame rate limiter, we're going to be leaving this alone. It should be set to monitor refresh rate, but don't change it to anything else. Don't even touch this option, as we've set a custom command within inside of the user CFG to unlock the FPS. For you guys looking to get the very best FPS possible, I'd recommend turning on future frame rendering, as this will help out improve performance, but can sometimes introduce a tiny bit of input lag. So for any of you super competitive gamers out there who already get really good frames, you might find better results turning this off. But for 99% of you watching this video, switch future frame rendering on. We can then proceed to turn off VSync, as this introduces input lag and locks your frame rate, so turn this off. For any of you guys out there who are running on GPUs that have around about 4 GB or more, I'd recommend switching the GPU memory restriction off. Otherwise, if you're running on older systems or you're not entirely sure, you can switch this on. We can then proceed to go down to graphics quality, and we're going to be setting the graphics quality to custom. We can then proceed to go down to texture quality, and we're going to be setting texture quality according to your system specs. So if you have an ultra high-end system, select ultra. If you have a high-end system, go with high. Medium-end system, go with medium, and vice versa. For everything else with inside of here, regardless of your system specs, switch everything to the lowest option possible below texture quality. Texture filtering for everyone should be set to low. Only switch the option for texture quality to match your system specs. Everything else should be set to low or off. Once you guys are done with inside of there, make sure that you do apply those options. We're now good to continue on. Another very quick and effective Windows optimization in which we can apply for better FPS, not just with inside of Battlefield 5, but pretty much any game we play, is to actually optimize our Windows sound settings for the best playback rate to reduce overhead stress on our CPU. Sounds rather complicated, but it's very simple, effective, and quick to do. All you need to do is navigate into the bottom right hand side to your speaker icon, right click and select the sounds option. Once the sound option opens up, simply navigate over to the left hand side and select the playback tab. With inside of here, what you need to then go ahead and do is scroll down in the drop down menu and find the speakers or the device in which you're using to output your audio. For me, that's going to be my speakers found here. It's typically going to be the device with the green tick next to it. Simply right click on it, select properties. With inside of here, we're going to start off by going to the enhancements tab. We're then going to select the box for disable all sound effects found here. What we'll then do is we'll then go ahead and press apply. We'll then follow that up with going over to the advanced tab found here at the top, going to default format, going into the drop down menu, scrolling all the way to the top and selecting 16-bit 44,100Hz CD quality. Once you guys got that selected, we're then going to go ahead to the bottom right hand side again, press apply, press OK, apply, and OK, and the optimization has now been completed. Now moving on to some of the more hefty optimizations to Windows, which are really going to boost your FPS across the board. Now, if any of the following steps you've done previously, it might have been a couple of months ago, I'd recommend following on with them again, even if you are familiar with them, as some of the latest Windows updates can sometimes revert some of these custom changes you might have made already with inside of Windows, so I'd highly recommend making sure that these are now applied, and they have not been reset by any Windows updates. I'd highly recommend for everyone watching this video to follow along with the following steps, as they are very easy to apply, they are extremely effective, and they are completely safe to use. They will not void any warranties, increase heat, or do any negative things to your PC besides improve the performance. What we need to do is make sure that Windows is running on the correct power plan to be giving you guys the best performance possible. To do this, what we're going to be doing is navigating to the bottom left hand side and typing in power plan, just like so. Doesn't matter if it's capitalized or not. Then I'm going to select the option for edit Windows power plan or choose power plan. Doesn't matter what the option says, just click on this icon found here. Once this tab opens up, what we're going to be doing is going to the top and selecting where it says power options. You'll then be brought to this screen found here. We're going to start off by going ahead to show additional power plans in the drop down menu, and you should be seeing balanced, high performance, and power saver. Now for any of you guys out there who are running on a Windows 10 based PC, doesn't matter whether or not it's a laptop, gaming PC, it doesn't matter what the spec, if you're running on Windows 10, make sure that you actually do click on the card on the top right hand side of the screen now, or in the description down below, and that will link you to my video, which will show you guys how to quickly unlock the ultimate performance power plan with inside of Windows 10. To keep this video as short and as effective as possible, I've decided to link that in a different video, as some of you guys will more than likely skip this step anyway, but for anyone watching this video who doesn't mind taking an extra couple of minutes, click on the video in the top right hand side of the screen now, or look for it in the description down below and follow that video, get the ultimate performance power plan installed to Windows, and we can continue on. So at this point, if you guys are going to go with the ultimate performance power plan, select the ultimate performance power plan. If not, make sure that you do go ahead and select the high performance power plan at least. So select one of these two power plans, just simply select it just like so. I'm going to be going with ultimate performance. Once the power plan has been selected, we can then go ahead and actually exit out of the tab, as that has now been applied. So making sure that we are now running on a decent Windows power plan, what we can now go ahead and do is actually further optimize Windows for power towards gaming applications and other high-speed tasks to ensure that we are getting the most out of our PCs as possible in pretty much everything we do. So to start off, what we're going to be doing is navigating into the FPS increase pack provided once again. This time going inside of the optimizations folder, we're now going to be going ahead and finding the CPU core parking setup version 2140 and double clicking on the application to open up the setup wizard. Now for most of you guys watching this video right now, you're probably wondering what CPU core parking actually is and what this utility is going to do for you and your PC. For a brief but precise explanation as to what this program does, you'll be able to look in the bottom hand of your screen now and you'll see in text what this program actually does. But the most important thing is that this program is completely safe to use. This does not void any warranties, this will not increase heat to your system, and you will be seeing performance gains across the board even inside of Windows itself and pretty much every single game you play, especially Battlefield. This is completely safe to use, this will not void any warranties, this will not increase any heat, and most importantly, it's one of the most important optimizations and one of the first things I do to any PC, whether it be old, new, or in between. So to install the program, what you need to go ahead and do is select next, accept the terms of the license agreement, selecting next again, next, and install. After a few moments, the program will be installed, make sure that the launch option has been checked, and then press finish. After a few moments, the program will open up and your program should look similar to mine, but the text and the numbers will more than likely be completely different, and that's absolutely fine. To start off, what we're going to be doing is going ahead to the power data plan found here in the left hand side, going into the drop down menu, And with inside of the drop down menu, we're going to select the power plan in which we set in the previous step. So if you guys went with the high performance power plan, select high performance. If you went and unlocked the ultimate performance power plan and selected it inside of Windows, go ahead and select ultimate performance. Once you guys have matched your power plan, what we simply then need to go ahead and do is navigate down to core parking index, dragging the slider all the way up to 100%, so we have all of our CPU cores unparked. We can then proceed to go over to frequency scaling index and again dragging the slider from whatever number it's set to all the way up to 100% once again. And for some of you guys out there, some CPUs don't support this, but if yours does and you do have the option, make sure that you go over to turbo boost index. If you do see it, some of you won't, drag the slider and again go all the way up to 100%. Once you guys have got all those 4 options set, all we now need to go ahead and do is press the apply button. We'll then notify you that changes have successfully been applied, press OK, and we can then exit out of the program as that optimization has now been applied. Piggybacking off of that step and again further optimizing Windows for gaming performance, this will not slow down your PC in any other applications. It just sets gaming applications to a higher priority, meaning that all of the system specs in which you've paid for, your graphics card, your CPU, can put more horsepower towards games, understanding that they are at a higher priority with inside of Windows. To do this again, it's very simple and easy to do. Just follow along with these steps shown as closely as possible. So what we're going to be doing is navigating to the bottom left hand side, this time typing in Reg Edit, just like so. Once you guys have typed that in, go ahead and press enter. Once you guys are inside of there, we're then going to be navigating up to the HKey local machine tab found here, double clicking on the folder. With inside of HKey local machine, we're then going to be going inside of the software folder. Now, before we continue on, if for any reason when we're going through these folders you find yourselves getting lost and you're not entirely sure if you're in the right folder, you can simply look at the top of my screen right now and you can always see the directory in which I'm in. As long as yours matches this, you're in the right folder and you're in the right place. As you can see, so far we've gone into HKey local machine and software. So once we're inside of the software folder, we're then going to be navigating down to Microsoft. Once you guys have found the Microsoft folder, double click once again. With inside of Microsoft, we're then going to be scrolling all the way down to the W section and looking for Windows NT. Double click on Windows NT, double click on current version. And with inside of here, we're then going to be looking in the M section for multimedia. With inside of multimedia, we're then going to double click. We're then going to go over to system profile, but we're only going to be clicking on system profile once. Once you've clicked on system profile once, you'll then be able to see network throttling index found here on the right hand side. Some of you guys watching might see system responsiveness as well. If you don't see system responsiveness, don't panic as we're going to be making this key anyway. So for any of you guys out there who do have system responsiveness already in here, simply go ahead and double click on the key, go to the value data and set the value data to 1. Then go ahead and press OK. Now, if for any reason you don't see system responsiveness with inside of this folder, simply go ahead and right click under network throttling index, select new and select dword 32-bit value. Once you guys have done that, we're then going to be naming this key system responsiveness. For any of you guys out there who are worried about any spelling mistakes or any typos, you can simply copy and paste this from the description down below if you wish to do so. But again, it's just going to be system responsiveness, just like so. Once you guys have got that typed out, go ahead and press enter. And again, double click on the key now, go to the value data, set the value of 1 and press OK. Once you guys are done with inside of there, we're then going to be navigating back over to the system profile folder on the left, this time double clicking, then going inside of tasks, then going down to the games folder with inside of here and clicking on games. We're then going to be navigating over to the right hand side and we're going to be changing the value data of 4 of these options. We're going to start off by going over to priority, double click on priority, and with inside of here we're going to be setting the value data to 6. Once the value data of 6 has been input, go ahead and press OK. We're then going to go over to our GPU priority, this time setting the value data to 8. Go ahead and press OK once again. We're then going to navigate down to scheduling category. This will typically be set to medium, but we're going to be setting the value data, as shown with inside of here, to high, which is HIGH, just like so, and pressing OK. And last but not least, we're going to be going over to SFIO priority, double clicking, and once again, setting the value data to high HIGH. Once you guys have done that, simply go ahead and press OK once again, and all of the registry edits in which we had to make have now been successfully applied. You can then go ahead and simply exit out of Registry Editor, and you've completed that step. Another very quick, effective and useful fix in which we can apply for any of you guys out there who use Discord and frequently have Discord open when you're playing games, whether that's to communicate with people via voice or if you just tend to have the app open, we can apply a very quick optimization to Discord which will help allocate more resources to our game and stop Discord hogging up excess resources in which it doesn't need. So to apply this optimization, it's very simple, quick and easy to do. What we're going to be doing is simply bringing up Discord like so, navigating over to the left hand side and selecting our user settings. Once we're inside of here, we're then going to be navigating over to the left hand side once again and going down to the appearance tab. With inside of here, we're then going to be scrolling all the way down to the bottom and you'll find the option for hardware acceleration under advanced. Go over to the flicker switch and simply turn it off just like any of the other ones. Select the option until it's grayed out. It'll ask you to restart Discord. That's absolutely fine. Just go ahead and press OK. Discord will restart and hardware acceleration mode will be turned off. Now, for an extremely fast and effective tweak for any of you guys running on an Nvidia graphics card, if you don't have an Nvidia graphics card, whether that be a GeForce series, GTX series, or RTX series graphics card from Nvidia, simply skip around about a minute into this video as this optimization is completely irrelevant for everyone else. Simply go ahead and navigate into the FPS increase pack provided, go inside of the optimizations folder, and we're going to be double clicking on the Nvidia Profile Inspector utility. After a few short moments, this program should open up and it should look very similar to this. What we're going to be doing is navigating down to where it says 1 and 2, which is going to be sync and refresh, and we're going to be finding the option for frame rate limiter mode. Double click on the option to make it editable. We're then going to go into the drop down menu and we're going to be selecting the option for 0x0004 PS frame rate limiter 2 control delay flip by flip. The full name will be shown on screen now. Just simply select this option. Once the option number has been selected, we're then going to go ahead to the top right hand side and apply those changes. We can then exit out of the Nvidia inspector as that optimization has now been applied. And for another extremely important optimization for any of you guys running on Nvidia based systems or Nvidia based graphics cards, make sure that you right click on your desktop and open up the Nvidia control panel. Once the Nvidia control panel has opened up, what we're going to be doing is navigating over to the Manage 3D Settings tab found here on the left hand side. What we're then going to be doing is going over to Program Settings found here at the top, and after a few moments, a drop down menu should appear just like so. What we're going to be doing is going into the drop down menu and finding Battlefield 5 BFV.exe. Make sure that you go ahead and select it, and you'll have all of the options available to you found within inside of here. What we're going to be doing is navigating down to the maximum pre-rendered frames tab found here, and we're going to be setting this option to use the 3D application setting found here just like so. Once you guys have got that set up, simply scroll all the way down until you find the option for power management mode and set this to prefer maximum performance. And once you guys have done that, simply then go ahead and press apply. It will then take a few minutes to apply that change. Once it's done, you can then go ahead and exit out of the Nvidia control panel. And what we've done there is just simply set up Battlefield 5 to be better tailored towards the config settings in which we installed earlier on. Now, most of you guys watching this video at this point are probably wondering what that optimization actually does. That helps drastically lower the input latency with inside of your graphics card driver, ensuring that you guys get lower frame times, less micro stutter, lower input latency, and can in some cases boost your FPS by around about 10% or so. Once you guys have reached this point in the video and you've applied all of the optimizations up until this point, what I'd highly recommend doing now is actually restarting your PC, logging back into Windows just to make sure that everything has been applied. You're on a fresh reboot of Windows and all of the options in which we set earlier on have completely been applied and we're good to go. To do this, I'd recommend just navigating to the bottom left hand side, clicking on your Windows button, right-clicking on the start button and selecting restart. So for the last and final step, what we're going to be doing is actually navigating into the FPS increase pack one last time, going inside of the optimizations folder, and we're going to be finding the timer resolution application found here. What we're going to be doing is simply dragging this application to our desktop just like so, and it should look very similar to this. Now, for a quick explanation and demonstration on what this program does and when you'll use this program, what this program does is it helps lower the input latency between your game application, the hardware you have installed to your system, and your operating system itself, ensuring that all three of these factors can talk to each other at a much more optimized rate, making sure that you guys get lower input times, lower frame times, higher FPS, and a much snappier, smoother feeling game. This is definitely in my top 3 optimizations to do to any PC, especially if you're playing games. It's completely safe to use, it's free, it's small and effective, and I'd highly recommend using this in every single case. So for a demonstration on how to use the program, what you'll do is before you boot into any game, you'll boot into the program by double clicking, select the maximum button to set the lowest input latency possible, minimize the program. At this point, you'll then boot into your game or do anything you wish to do so. Once you're then done playing, even if it's hours later, close out of your game, bring the program back up, select default to set it back to the normal value, and then you'll exit out of the program, and it's just that simple and easy to use. So assuming that we've now completely optimized our game and got time resolution installed and ready to go, there's only one thing left to do, and that is to actually go ahead and boot into time resolution, select maximum, minimize the program, navigate into Origin, find Battlefield 5, and hit play. And there you guys have it, my ultimate FPS increase guide for Battlefield 5. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure that you do let me know of your results, questions, queries, and suggestions for more content in that comment section down below. It's always great to see what you guys have to say in those comment sections down below, and it's great to see the discussions in which go on inside of those. If you guys did enjoy this video and are happy with the results, a like on the video would be deeply appreciated as it helps me out a ton, alongside considering subscribing to the channel and pressing the bell notification if you do enjoy content like this and wish to stay instantly updated whenever I upload. Thank you ever so much for taking the time to watch this video, guys. Hopefully it has been worth it and you're more than happy with the results. I've been Panjno, and I am out.